Welcome to Politics Unplugged. I'm Ann Trujillo. It has been a busy year for Colorado Governor Jared Polis. And while he has signed most of the bills sent to him by the Democratic-controlled legislature, he did veto a handful. And recently I had the chance to sit down with the governor to ask him about those vetoes and some of the bills. But we started our conversation talking about the tariffs President Trump has threatened against Mexico and other countries and the impact they could have on those of us living here in Colorado.
Access to mental health services, including diagnosis early before things get out of hand. So we look forward to working with all of our school districts to really make sure that we can improve safety and also reduce the suicide rate.
Record snowpack. It's been a great year for our resorts, certainly. Are you concerned about runoff flooding? Are you anticipating any moves to deal with that?
Absolutely. While we, of course, in any summer period risk forest fires, the forest fire risk is below what it normally would be, but the risk of flooding is greater. I visited Lavetta and some communities in southern Colorado that are at risk. Lake City, we're destroying a dam there to do what we can, but these communities are still very much at risk, as are areas of the metro area, as we face that runoff, particularly in areas like near Lake City, where they've had significant fire activity in the last several years, so you don't have that same vegetation, and the runoff comes right into the tributaries, into towns, and potentially could be of great cost to homes and potentially even lives. So you're watching this right now? We've declared a state of emergency in Hinsdale County and have begun the work around destroying dams and removing debris for Lake City. And of course, we're doing what we can in other areas to work with the local people on the ground to reduce the risk to Coloradans.
Okay. The giant boulder, I wanted to ask you about that. How is it you decided leaving it there was the right thing to do? Well,
we had a couple options. You all saw the rather majestic picture of what it looks like. Pretty impressive, larger than a house. And it would cost more to destroy and blow up and remove than simply, as they rebuild the road, to build it in a slightly different route. The estimated cost of rebuilding the road is about $1.3 million. If they were to destroy that boulder, it would be an additional $200,000 to $300,000. So we thought, look, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. This is pretty iconic and majestic, and it fell on the eve of Memorial Day weekend. It's $100 or $200 a year in HOA fees that will now be reduced. That's a small HOA. If you have a 10 or 15 person HOA, those savings are bigger. The very large ones usually go with professional management companies anyway.
You signed a bill that sets up a media literacy panel. Why?
So two bills related to freedom of speech. The more significant legally, and I'll get to the media literacy piece, but the more significant legally is something that we call an anti-SLAPP law. Basically what this does is it prevents, if you exercise your free speech and you give, God forbid, a bad review of your local neighborhood, coffee shop, what was happening is, and it affects professional journalists as well, with providing them that safe harbor, is people were being harassed through lawsuits. Not that these lawsuits would ever succeed, but who in the world wants to spend $10,000 on legal fees just to defend themselves from writing a bad review? I mean, it's a chilling effect on free speech. So we ended that in Colorado, as several other states have. Obviously, professional media members, it was your employers that would pay those defense fees, so you were less sensitive to them, but obviously they appreciate it as well. Media literacy. We live in a day and age with, again, starting with the glasses half full, there's a broader diversity of media voices than ever before. That's a good thing. The bad side is some are of dubious quality. That's a generous term. I would say some are insidiously false, deliberately false. And it's important that consumers, information consumers, your viewers, the Colorado general public at large, have the skills that they need to be literate consumers of today's media in a market that no longer has the overall level of professionalism that it would have 10 or 20 years ago because of the proliferation of news sites that don't even rise to the level of being
But who would decide this? Who would decide what is...
It's about critical thinking skills, right? So it's no one's rating news sites. It's about how do you develop those critical thinking skills that you need to be an information consumer in the 21st century, right? Whether it's knowing how to reject phone call solicitations that are trying to sell you something, or whether it's being able to discern between an article that says the earth is flat because here's 5 people who say it's flat versus the science of knowing that the earth is in fact not flat.
Yeah. Okay. Well, congratulations on a successful first few months, yes?
Thank you, Ann. It's really an amazing state we live in, Colorado, and it's a great honor to serve the state.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your time.